Hello everybody, welcome back to another Weather Central forecast. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And in today's video we will be going over that severe weather. This will kind of be an official forecast-ish. I might be able to make a forecast tomorrow on my official forecast. But as of now, this will be my official forecast. And if things change, you guys will know because I'll have a forecast out tomorrow. So I do want to start off with a disclaimer that these forecasts are my opinion. They're based off of model guidance and past occurrences of weather. For the most accurate and up-to-date weather, please consult your local National Weather Service office, as they will have more accurate and up-to-date information than I will have, especially on these major systems like this one will be. I hope you guys do enjoy this forecast. Let's go ahead and go over to my official look at this system. So here is my official look on this forecast. You can see not really much has changed since our very first look. A noticeable change, though, is the severe weather has pushed a little bit farther north and east. We also see a wider concentration of this, in my opinion, a moderate risk of severe weather throughout these regions. That's an expansion compared to last forecast. But really, not much has changed. We do have a measurable snow region, as we will also be going over that in this video. There does look to be a couple inches of snow possible throughout those areas. I do still expect, though, a kind of wide-ish region of a rain-snow mix. A somewhat smaller region of just rain throughout these regions right here. And then I expect, maybe a little bit of thunderstorm risk throughout parts of Chicago. But, our biggest risk is off to the east side of this severe weather. Obviously, our low will be tracking this way, as we've gone over many times. So let's go ahead and go over to the models and see what they're showing. Okay, so here we are on precipitation type. You guys can see we have this low right here that is going to be tracking up into Canada, bringing this moisture a little farther northward. This is going to try to push eastward. We're going to have a secondary low develop, and that's going to kind of collide the moisture with the other low, and it's going to cause some very, very heavy precip for parts of the north, and obviously some measurable snow like my forecast indicated. We'll go ahead and go over precipitation type, then we'll go to snowfall totals, and then we're going to go over temperature anomalies, and then CAPE forecasted, and maybe helicity if we get farther into this video if it doesn't take up too much time. So we see that secondary low develop down into parts of Kansas and Colorado. That's going to try to track eastward. Like I said, we're seeing this system try to push off west, and this system's going to try to push north and east and just try to maybe collide with some moisture over here and produce a really heavy precip throughout these areas. You can see this kind of happen, some very heavy precip for parts of Wisconsin, getting up into Three Lakes, Wisconsin, some snow on the back end on the western side. You can see that moves its way into parts of Minnesota. We're seeing some mixing probably just off of the shore of the northern end of Wisconsin. Some parts of Michigan maybe getting on some sleet with those, cooler atmosphere temperatures up in the, 1,000 feet up. You see some two lows being indicated right here. That's going to have some cooler air on the northern end of it. And it's also going to bring a lot of precip, like I said. And then we're already starting to see our squall line of thunderstorms starting to develop down into Kansas, into Oklahoma. This is only 60 hours out, so this is pretty much going to stay consistent throughout the next model runs, more than likely. We're going to see some Gulf moisture get injected into this system, and it's going to cause a big squall line of thunderstorms getting in its way into parts of Ohio, all the way down to parts of Missouri. You're seeing some very heavy precip concentrated into parts of southern Missouri here. We're going to have those CAPE values line up too, like I predicted earlier. Those CAPE values did shift a little bit farther eastward, which obviously we're still seeing. Oops, sorry about that. We still are seeing those higher CAPE values off to, the west throughout these regions here. But we did see quite a bit of shift to where we get enough CAPE here to produce some very strong thunderstorms. Maybe isolated EF0 tornadoes if that does occur, but I doubt it will throughout those regions. We can move this on even more. It's very heavy precip. Stays pretty steady throughout there. We're going to have that stationary front. Let's see if it's still showing that snow on the back end. We're still seeing that cold front try to push its way down. We're seeing some snow starting to transition. That's probably more of the mountainous regions through where they're seeing that snow. And then it tries to make its way into Kansas. It doesn't do a great job of that. But then we're looking at maybe a secondary snowstorm for parts of the north. We're going to have to keep an eye out on that as we move forward past this system. So let's go ahead and look at snowfall totals for this event for parts of the north. So here we are with snowfall totals. Now, obviously, you guys see all of this snow over here that is going to be associated with this event and some other isolated events throughout those areas. But our main concern here, because these are mostly going to be mountainous regions and regions that are, experienced to seeing a lot of snow throughout these regions during this time, which obviously the north is as well. But this is going to kind of come out of shock as, they've been seeing some very warm temperatures. Anywhere in this gray here, you're looking at anywhere from a trace to an inch. As you get into these blues, you're looking at 2 to 5. And then in those purples, you're looking at anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of snow. Isolated higher amounts of close to 10 inches into parts of extreme northeastern Minnesota. And you see some parts of northern Wisconsin getting in on some of this snow too, maybe a couple of inches closer to the lake region, mostly lake effect snow. But you're seeing a dusting maybe getting down into parts of northern Illinois, extending northward. Now this will be a light dusting at most, but you might see some snowflakes flying throughout the air, probably into the overnight hours if you guys are even up by then. So that is about it for this snowfall forecast. Let's go ahead and make our way over to the temperature anomalies just to see how much instability we have to work with given the sharp temperature difference throughout these regions. So here we are looking at our temperature anomalies, and you can see quite a bit of warm temperatures up to the north, extending down into parts of the south central. This is going to allow for some instability throughout the atmosphere, especially where we're seeing these very, very warm temperatures. Obviously, it won't cause much CAPE. The more CAPE will be caused down here where we're seeing, a slightly cool down to a major warm-up over a span of 500-ish miles. We're also going to see some instability throughout the atmosphere throughout these regions as well. But moving this through, we'll see just how much, temperature we're going to have to work with here. So you're seeing some very warm temperatures up to the north. So that's what's going to allow for, some higher snow ratios and or some rain, and possibly even thunderstorms into parts of Kansas. You can see this temperature shifts eastward into parts of Michigan, into parts of eastern Wisconsin, down into parts of Illinois, all the way back up into parts of Kansas. And if we move this on even more, you can see it kind of stays stationary throughout these regions with very warm temperatures, and you're seeing a cool down right behind it. So that could be prepping another severe weather event. If we go over models, I'll show you guys in the next 150-ish hours plus, we're seeing possibly another severe storm throughout these regions right here. So let's go ahead and go over to our CAPE values and just go ahead and take a look at, updated totals for this system. So here we are looking at our CAPE. You can see we have around 20-ish joules of CAPE down into parts of Texas. Not enough to start anything. But if we move this on to the next frame, you can see we get some CAPE extending all the way up into Nebraska, all the way down through parts of northern Texas. We're seeing CAPE values of maybe isolated areas of 100 throughout these regions. If we move this on, though, we'll see a big jump in CAPE. You can see just right there, around 48 hours out, some very strong squall line thunderstorms on this secondary system. We're looking at CAPE values over 1,000 up to 1,200. So that it's going to be enough to support, those higher-end thunderstorms, low-end EF0 to EF1 tornadoes, and maybe isolated EF2 if that does occur. So this little squall line of CAPE is going to try to penetrate eastward. We'll see this happen. It doesn't do a very great job. Obviously, it intensifies one last time throughout parts of Kansas and Oklahoma where we're seeing that, biggest severe weather threat. But then it kind of, like I said, it tries to penetrate eastward. We do have a squall line of some very heavy CAPE up to, 750, which is enough to produce some of those medium-ish, moderate to low-end thunderstorms. And then it kind of builds down into parts of Texas as it'll make its one last wave throughout, the United States. We're going to see another severe weather event, and that's going to be indicated by this CAPE. I've already checked. We are seeing the precip on this time as well. You can see this dig really far up. We're seeing CAPE values. I mean, obviously, this is too far to really go out, but over 2,500 joules of CAPE available throughout this system. This is going to be March 16th, so 2 weeks from now, just about. So this is going to be something to keep an eye out on. Like I said, we have some very strong CAPE down into parts of Texas. So let's go ahead and look at our updrafts here. Just one last time before we do end this video. So obviously, helicity is the updraft in the storm. More updraft, you have bigger chance of supercellular development, and most supercells do produce tornadoes. I think it's around 40 or 50% of supercells. So we can see some very strong updrafts into parts of Kansas. You can see those whites in some areas over 500, which is indicating some very strong updrafts. That'll be penetrated and concentrated down into parts of, Kansas into Oklahoma. We're seeing those stronger updrafts. You can see that does move, where we're seeing, those stronger Cape values. We're seeing those updrafts as well. And that will be on those squall line thunderstorms as they are moving eastward. Let's see if, we see any more updrafts throughout this system. You can see it tried to make its way into parts of southwestern Missouri, northwestern Arkansas, up into northeastern Oklahoma, all the way back down into parts of Texas, but it doesn't do a very great job of that to produce, really anything really crazy. Just a little quick look at, the updrafts that we could be seeing throughout this next system. You can see it doesn't look very impressive on updrafts, but, we did see that really strong Cape and very strong precip. So that is about going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this forecast. I will try to make another updated official forecast on this tomorrow, but no promises. So, as always, stay tuned to my forecast just in case that does happen. But I wouldn't really expect it to, come out tomorrow because I will be very busy. So I hope you guys did enjoy this forecast, and I'll see you guys in the